It is another exciting edition of Shiftwork here at Russell Steaks, Chops, and More. And joining me from Runner's Roost is Rob Fox. How's it going, Rob?
Good. How you doing, Clay?
Good. I've known you a long time, so there's a lot to talk about here. First of all, Runner's Roost, the history, it's not just an Orchard Park store. It's been there a long time, but it was in Buffalo originally?
Yes, we initially started on Hurley Avenue in, I want to say, the spring of 1978. So we've been 41 years strong in West New York.
So you have an interesting history when it comes to getting this business. You yourself worked in concrete for a long time.
Yes, I was local laborers 210 for about 12 years. When this opportunity came to Michelle and I, it's like we have to do this together, so we couldn't have two careers with having children. So now we run the business together.
So when people come into Runner's Roost, it's a totally different experience. I know I've shopped there. I do you guys' advertisements as well. It's a totally different experience because the people who you encounter are runners, and your staff knows exactly what they're doing.
Yes, absolutely. Our staff couldn't tell you we wouldn't be who we are without our staff. They are former coaches, coaching now, physicians assistants, going to school, physical therapist students. So we have a wide variety of talented individuals that work for us.
Have you had any famous celebrities come in and try to get some shoes from you yet?
We with being Orchard Park, we do see quite a few of the Buffalo Bills staff. Once in a while, we'll get a player that comes through. Kyle Williams was a customer for many years. Coach McDermott shops with us. So
it's got to be surreal when you go to measure their foot or whatever.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's being a fan. And then, they walk in the store, it's kind of a little starstruck, but it's cool.
What I found interesting is, I thought I was wearing the right shoe size for years. But when I came in, the guys are like, I got to measure your foot. I'm like, no, I'm good, I'm a 12. Did you see it a lot where people come in and they think they know their foot size, but it's not?
Absolutely. That's something that the people don't realize. Like, if they haven't been measured in 10 years, let's say, your feet change over time. Gravity, your feet, they kind of flatten out a little bit over time so they can actually grow. They're not growing, they're elongating. So we always measure. Even if it's been a year or two since they've been measured last, we recommend being measured.
So when it comes to running, obviously there's a ton of places in Western New York to go, but what do you think is the most popular? Where's the best place to go?
I'd say popularity-wise, Chestnut Ridge. A lot of different avenues out there, whether you're running trails or road running.
Is there a favorite race that you have outside of the ones that you guys sponsor? Is there one that you got to run this 5K?
Well, the Subaru 5K is coming up. It's a great one. It's in the city, down in the Elmwood area. That actually brings some elite runners in from even as far as Africa because there's cash prizes and it's fast and it's on Friday night and it's fun.
So afterward, I don't know if they recommend this, but I've heard that beer is good for you after you run. Do you think that's true?
Good for you, but it tastes a whole lot better.
Right.
So, after a nice
run. I'm telling you, when the gun goes off, I think I'm only 3 miles away from a cold beer right now. What about a song playlist for when you run? What's your pick?
I love country music. I always love the up-tempo, heavy rock, hard metal type stuff for running.
To me, when I run and there's music on, I feel like my legs start going to the beat.
Yes.
So it can either slow me down or speed me up. Does that make any sense to you?
Yes, and that's why, it just seems like always that great song comes on, some Van Halen run with the Devil Made Me, just, you get in a good mood and just want to go faster. But definitely is the case.
Here's another one that I've always thought about. I'm sure your answer is going to be as often as possible, but how often should I change my running shoes?
Often it depends on the shoe, but I would say a good middle of the road shoe, price point for a run specialty shoe is about $120, $130. Running only 400, 500 miles. If you're wearing them daily and not running 6 to 8 months.
You brought up a good point there. Should I be wearing my shoes all the time or just when I run?
You can wear them all the time or just when you run. It's just going to cut the lifetime of the shoe. Every time you step in the shoe, the material absorbs the impact, it compresses a little bit, it'll come back, but eventually it doesn't come back anymore. So think of like a car. Use an example, you can see the car looks good on the outside, but the shocks might be bad underneath the body, and that's kind of what happens with a running shoe.
What about compression socks and things like that? Are they just gimmicks or do they really work?
Compression socks definitely work. It's just be careful which compression socks you're buying. The company we work with in a store that's a medical grade 1 compression sock, so it's still good for athletic wear and it helps increase blood flow by up to 40%. So it's good for recovery, it's good for your stamina as you're running. So
it's an actual thing.
Yeah.
It's not just a cool look.
Yep.
Very cool. Well, Rob, thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely.
And good luck to you and Michelle with everything.
Thanks, Clay.
Another edition of Shiftwork right here at Russell Steaks, Chops, and More on WYRK.
See why he's been called the filet mignon of his generation. Russell J. Salvatore, live in concert, one night only. The Well Done Tour heats up Russell's steaks, chops, and more.
Be my guest, and let us do the rest.